Hi everyone! So, we've had a bunch of new followers in the past 2 weeks for some reason. So, I figured it was time to do another get to know me, share my story kind of thing. Because I haven't done that in a while. So that's what this whole live is going to be. It was originally going to be me talking about getting clients and stuff like that, but I'll do that probably on Tuesday. Today we're going to talk about who I am, how I got started and stuff like that, because like I said, we have so many new people here that I think it's definitely about time that I share my story with you guys. So there's a lot of moving pieces to the story. For anyone that is new here, hi, I'm Olivia. I currently live outside of Nashville, Tennessee, but I'm originally from the New England area. I grew up in Massachusetts, and I went to school in Vermont. And that's how I met my fiance. That's how basically this whole story kind of begins. And August of 2020 was COVID, prime COVID time. Everyone was scared shitless. Nobody really knew what was going on. I was, a mere sophomore in college, going to be a junior. So I was halfway through college. And basically, I grew up in a pretty not so well-off family. My dad would be working as a truck driver for, 14 plus hours a day. I barely got to see him as a kid growing up. My mom was trying to manage 3 different jobs. So it was a lot. So we were not very well off at all. Our vacations consisted of us going up to New Hampshire for a long weekend. And as a kid I thought that was the best thing in the world, but I had no idea. I had no clue that other people were going to Disney World or stuff like that. So not saying that I'm ungrateful for anything growing up. I love my family and we have a great dynamic and stuff like that. But growing up it was very living very, very poorly, I guess. So always budgeting to the last penny and stuff like that. Didn't really know how we were going to pay for groceries some weeks, racking up a ton of credit card debt. And I didn't really see it until after I graduated high school as much. My parents tried to keep it as protected from me and my 2 sisters as much as possible, but we were not very well off growing up. And I know a lot of other people probably were worse off, especially in the area that I grew up in. It was a very, very poor neighborhood. But yeah, it was very, very hard. So getting into college was kind of a crazy time for me because I applied to 9 different schools. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I knew that it was something in the STEM field because I really enjoyed, building things. I enjoyed science a lot. So I decided that I was going to go to school for engineering. And I ended up applying to, I think, 9 different schools. I applied to 9 different schools. One of them being the Naval Academy. I did not get in there, but I applied to 9 different schools. I think I got into 6, maybe 5 of them. I don't really remember. But yeah, I applied to 9 different schools and I ended up choosing Norwich University. That's where I ended up going to school. And for the first year and a half, I was trying really hard to get school paid for by the military. So I was trying to pursue a Navy contract, trying to commission into the Navy. Didn't end up working out just because my grades were not at the level that I needed in order to get school fully paid for, in order to commission. So that leads me into the beginning of this whole journey. So August of 2020, my mom kind of sat me down and she's like, look, Olivia, this whole military thing isn't working out and you need to pay for school somehow. We need to figure this out. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to send you for the next 2 years. Because at this time I just finished being a sophomore and I was about to be a junior going into school. And this was a really oh shit moment for me. I need to figure something out. It was really eye-opening. So I ended up getting a job as a Amazon Whole Foods shopper. So if you know what Whole Foods is, during COVID they had shoppers that would go around and put the food into the cart for people, package it all up and stuff like that because people didn't really want to be going to the grocery stores and touching all the groceries and stuff. So it was a great job. As someone who was in college, I it was great. I got in like 20,000 steps per day. I was like in great shape doing it. But it only paid like $15 an hour, and I was competing with a bunch of other people in the area to get slots to work. So I was like, this isn't gonna work. I need to find something else that's gonna supplement this income, because for anyone, if you haven't gone to college, or if like you haven't gone to college in the past like maybe 20 years, like it's crazy expensive. You know, like I got a ton of scholarships, but it was still like $15,000 per semester, and I had a ton of scholarships. So I'm like, there's no way that me working $15 an hour just over the summer is going to pay for school. So that's when I really started to look into the online world. You know, I'd heard about people making money online before, but I had zero clue where to start. I started doing, what did I do? I did like Amazon, product reviews. So like I would go online and like review something really quick and get like 5 cents for doing it, or like surveys. That's what it was. I was doing surveys. I started looking into like the stock market and stuff. Like I was literally looking at everything to see what I could do. And it wasn't until I came across Alex Fasulo. You might have seen her on social media before. She's like freelancing queen. She's great with Fiverr. She's made like millions of dollars off of Fiverr. And I first came across her on, I think it was Instagram actually. And I saw her account and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. Like I'd like to learn a little bit more about it. So I started watching more of her videos. I opened up my own Fiverr account, fully expecting nothing to come out of this. I was like, you know what? I don't have a lot to lose here. So if I get scammed out of this whole working online thing, you know, they'll have like maybe $200. That's all that they're gonna get from me, because I had like zero money at the time. And yeah, that was kind of the beginning. I started working on Fiverr. My first 2 clients ever were my now fiance and my sister. Because that was one of the biggest tips that Alex gave me was, if you're getting started on Fiverr, like have friends and family do the first few orders for you. That way you can have some positive reviews. So my fiance ended up like placing an order for like a floor and tile like about us page or something like that. So I started out as a copywriter on there, like just writing for people. I wrote product descriptions, I wrote sales copy, I wrote blog posts, I did proofreading and editing, and yeah, that's pretty much where it started. It wasn't until 2 weeks after my fiance and my sister placed their orders that I got my first real order from somebody on Fiverr. And it was $30. It was a $30 order to write product descriptions for a baby bag company. So like some sort of like baby bag thing that they were selling on Amazon, and they needed like a product description written for it. I later learned that this guy was a dropshipper, so he needed a bunch of different product descriptions written for him. But yeah, that was my first ever online order, and I made $30 from it, and it was the coolest thing in the world. So after that, this was early September of 2020, and I'm like, you know, my goal now is just going to be to make $30 a week. That is just going to be my baseline goal. And very quickly, I was able to scale it up, because there's a fly in here. Ask my fiance if you ever meet him, or like ask my family members, but I was working my butt off to try and get orders. I was literally doing everything, like in between classes. You know, I'd be hanging out with him, we'd be watching a movie, and I'd have like an order come in, and I'd be like, Sam, I gotta go. I cannot do this right now. I need to do this order. I need to make the money and like get these reviews so that I can start building up credibility online. And yeah, that was the start of it. So I think the first month I made maybe like $100. After that it was like 200, then 500, and then by the time that December came around, I had my first like total amount ever made on Fiverr. I made $1,000, and I was like, oh my god, this is so crazy, like and it was the coolest thing in the world. And yeah, that was the very beginning, was working on Fiverr. So after that, once the new year began, I started taking investments more seriously as well. So I opened up an account on Robinhood. Keep in mind, this was also the time where like Dogecoin was going through the roof, and like all the meme stocks and stuff like that. So I invested in like all of those, not on purpose. I didn't really think that it was going to turn into a meme, but like, you know, you live and you learn. I was brand new. And I also started my TikTok account, which was literally like right after Christmas of 2020. So I always say it was like January of 2021 because I didn't really post consistently until January, but my first ever video I think went out on December 22nd of 2020. And I started my account just to vlog this entire process, just to, you know, keep myself accountable with everything, just to, you know, see what would happen, share everything that I've learned with you guys online. So if you've been here since day one, if you've been following me on TikTok, then you know what I'm talking about here. But yeah, my first few videos were me filming in my grandmother's basement because at the time my family ended up, we had to declare bankruptcy and stuff like that, so we lost our house and we had to move in with my grandmother, and there weren't enough like rooms for me to like keep my stuff in, so I basically was living in the basement. And I had this tiny little corner, and right next to like my dresser, my like plastic, you know, crate dresser that you see like all the college students have, that's where all my clothes were. And I would like sneak downstairs every once in a while and I'd like film a TikTok video. And it took me like 3 hours to film my first ever TikTok video. It was terrifying. I was so afraid. I was so afraid that my sisters were going to come downstairs, or like my mom and dad were going to come down and do laundry and they'd find me down there. And I was so embarrassed. I mean, rightfully so. If you look back at my early TikToks, they're very, very cringy. Filming is so bad. I have zero confidence on camera, but it is what it is. But yeah, that's where I started my TikTok. I started vlogging everything, and I got pretty much obsessed with making money online. I was like, the possibilities out here are endless. So I went from Fiverr to investments to, I came across, you know, the super popular thing that everyone saw online during COVID was the 15-day challenge. I was one of those people that took it. I honestly like the course. I mean, I don't really promote it anymore. I promoted it a lot when I like first took it, but I got a lot of value from it, and it taught me a lot about the basics of starting a business, because when I was just working on Fiverr, it was like, oh yeah, this is what I should be doing, but I had no real guidance. So like taking the challenge like definitely opened my eyes, and I, you know, was brought into Legendary Marketer community and stuff like that. And after that, I started doing more affiliate marketing. So I was now doing copywriting, I was doing investment stuff, and I was doing affiliate marketing. And this is where everything really started to pick up, was around February of 2021. I had a TikTok video go viral, and looking back on it, it was a blessing and a curse that had happened. I do not recommend people, like, this could be a whole other conversation to have. I don't want to go too far off track of what the whole point of this live is, but I don't recommend people try and purposely go viral, because there's a lot that comes with going viral, and if you have the wrong video go viral, it could just be like you talking about something that's not related to your business at all, and it goes viral. Like, that's what your page is going to be known for. And that's what happened to me. I had a video of me talking about a coloring book side hustle go viral, and it was awesome because that was the jumpstart for like my actual business on TikTok. Like, that's where I got a lot of my followers from. A lot of people started following me because I talked about side hustles, I talked about affiliate marketing, I talked about all this stuff. And it was really cool because what came out of that TikTok and what came out of that experience was I got interviewed for a podcast, for the Legendary Marketer podcast. And that started to build up my credibility a lot more. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. I don't want to sneeze on live, but let me just go outside here and just... Sorry. Look, the weather down here has been changing a lot. Like, I'm in Tennessee right now, so it's like literally 78 degrees outside, which is really weird. So it was 30 the other day, and it's like 80 right now. So like my allergies are like all over the place. So I'm so sorry if I end up like sneezing on this live. But yeah, so February was when things took off. I ended up going on the Legendary Marketer interview. I ended up like networking with a bunch of other people in the online space. So like Alex Fasula and I became friends. A bunch of other people I started reaching out to. It was really cool. Like, my TikTok went from 0 to 100,000 followers in like, I don't know, 30 days. It was crazy. It was like a crazy growth. And yeah, that was kind of the start of like my whole TikTok career. And I went from making like $500 a month just doing Fiverr stuff to $3,000 a month because I was also doing affiliate marketing in there. So like I scaled my income drastically, and like, you know, having those TikTok followers definitely helped and all that stuff. But yeah, it was a very cool experience. And that was the very beginning of my online journey. And as time went on, I realized that I didn't like working on Fiverr anymore. The people on there were just really scammy. I wasn't, you know, being paid what I was worth anymore. And I was like, it's time to let this go. So I have a few TikTok videos talking about some like Fiverr horror stories. So if that interests you, you can definitely go digging for that. But yeah, I stopped working on Fiverr in probably June of 2021. So I was on Fiverr for a full year. But I was like, this isn't worth it anymore. Like, I'm spending so much time and making barely any money from this. So I moved away from Fiverr and I got into social media management. I'm like, if I'm this good at making TikToks on my own account, why not do it for other people? So I got into social media management. I just finished my junior year now, and I was at the point where I was consistently making like, you know, $3,000 to $5,000 per month as a college student. And I was like blown away by this whole thing. I was like, this is like crazy. I was taking my friends out to dinner. I was putting money towards savings for my student loans because I knew that was going to be around the corner 6 months after I graduated. And it was just like this awesome feeling. I was like, this is so cool. Like, I'm not worried about money. Like, I don't feel like my parents right now where, you know, they just declared bankruptcy. Like, I am in such a good spot right now, and I really want to see where this will take me. So over the summer of my junior year going into my senior year, I really started taking this business more seriously. I was like, is it possible to do this after graduation? And I had 9 months until I graduated. So that gave me 9 months to figure out my shit, to figure out how I was actually going to turn this into an actual business. And, you know, I was lucky enough where I went to school and I graduated with a really good degree. Like, I graduated with a mechanical engineering degree. So my logic is, if I graduate with this degree and this business doesn't work out, worst comes to worst, I just, you know, work a real 9-to-5 job. But in the back of my head, I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I really don't want to do that. I want to prove this to myself, and I want to prove it to other people that, like, I can do this. I can make this business work. So going into my senior year, I was debating on if I wanted to do mentorship and like hiring a mentor. And I was looking at Rachel Peterson's Click, because like I'd been following Rachel for a while and I loved her content. I'd heard great things about being in her program, but it was so expensive. And looking back on it, thank God I didn't join it when I did, because during my time, like my senior year, the business kind of fell apart a little bit. I wasn't making the money I was making before, and it would have just been way too much trying to balance academics, and like I was a D3 swimmer in college, so like athletics and all that stuff with the business. So I didn't end up taking on mentorship, which I'm grateful at the time that I didn't make that decision, but it was also really hard. Hold on, I got logged out of my account, so I'm just gonna log back in real quick. Sometimes I randomly get logged out of Google Drive, but okay, there we go. So yeah, I didn't end up taking on the mentorship, and going into my senior year, I was like, I'm just gonna try and figure this out myself and see what I can do. So I took on a few more clients. Affiliate marketing was still going pretty strong for me, but I felt really icky. I felt really icky about the way I was selling. I felt like I was one of those like marketing bros online, and I hated that. Like, I hated feeling like that. I was like, this just isn't right. This isn't me. This isn't reflective of who I am. Like, the money is great that's coming in, but I do not like the way that I'm selling. So I stepped away from Legendary Marketer. I stepped away from promoting other people's courses and stuff like that. It wasn't me, and I knew that this was going to be a drastic drop in my income, but this wasn't the business I wanted to be building for after I graduated. And the minute I stopped doing that, I saw a drastic change in my audience. And it was a good change, don't get me wrong, but all of those followers that I'd built the past like year and a half were unfollowing me. Like I had hundreds, like thousands of people, because at this time I had 350,000+ followers on TikTok. I had thousands of people unfollowing me. And I was like, oh my God, am I like making the right decision here? Like I thought this was what I wanted to be doing, and it was just like I was going through this whole like mental like what the fuck moment. So once I kind of figured that out, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go full in on social media management, start building up this business. And I dropped most of my affiliate marketing. Like I said, I was off of Fiverr doing copywriting at that point. Like it was just social media. So I was able to land one client, and this was on a retainer for $3,200 per month. And we ended up working together for 9 months. It was with a startup. They have been by far like my favorite people to work with. I loved working with them. But unfortunately, you know, due to the market, due to the way that, you know, they were running the business, they ended up collapsing. Not really surprised. I think it's like 90% of startups end up like, you know, not working out. But I loved working with them. And all throughout my senior year, I ended up taking on more and more clients, doing small projects here and there, other side hustles. Like I was trying out getting on YouTube, trying to get like AdSense going. Still haven't gotten to that point, but YouTube videos are a whole other ballgame and story. But yeah, since then, it's kind of been just working with agency clients, like up until I graduated at least. So that whole senior year was just working with social media agency clients. And after I graduated, I had to make a very important decision. And that was, do I try and find a job, or do I go all in on the business? And I decided to go all in on the business. And I legally became like a legit business. So I like moved down to Tennessee right after, like literally 2 weeks after I graduated. I filed to be an LLC in Tennessee. I'm now ORK Productions. And yeah, the rest is kind of history. I've been working on and off with social media clients for the agency. And now I'm also running this whole coaching thing, like helping, you know, business owners grow and scale using social media, coaching, all that stuff. Like, so it's just been kind of a crazy ride, but yeah, that's my story. My best month ended up being in September of 2022, where I hit a 10K month. And it's just been an incredible journey. Like looking back on it, I can't believe that I started this just so I could make $30 a week to pay for textbooks and, you know, pay for school. But yeah, that is pretty much my like entire journey in a nutshell. Like, I know there's so many more details that go into it. So if like anyone who's listening has any questions about that 2.5-3 year time period that I just went through, like feel free to drop in the comments, because I know I'm definitely leaving out some sort of stuff. But yeah, it was extremely hard work. And the thing that I think kept me going throughout this whole thing was that even after a long day of like academics and swim practice, doing my business and like, you know, talking with you guys online and going live and creating TikTok videos and, you know, editing for clients and like doing social media management, it was something that I looked forward to every single day. No matter how tired I was, no matter what other like obligations that I had, it was like my favorite thing in the world to do. And I never really thought that I'd be able to scale this. I really didn't. I was just very naive, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm just in it for, you know, the money right now, just to see where it takes me, just to get through school. And now that I've actually turned it into like a legitimate business, like I am legally registered as a business, you guys. Like, it's just crazy to me. It's mind-blowing to see how much not only have I changed like as a person, but like just like the world around me, like my perspectives have changed, you know, like monetarily everything has changed for me. It's just like, it's insane. Like I literally now work from home, and I spend maybe like 4 or 5 hours per day working. I get to wear my flannels and my sweatshirts every single day. I get to hang out with my amazing dog and my fiance. You know, he's in the Army, so anytime that like an event comes up or something, I can just take the day off of work and like go hang out with him at work. Or, you know, if he has like a day off, like we can go and take a day trip somewhere with the dog. Like, it's just, there's so much more freedom now, and I'm so grateful that I'm in this position. And I don't think I've ever really expressed that online to anyone before, but like, it's so true. I'm so grateful for all of these opportunities that have come from me, like over these past 3 years. And it's all because like, I really do attribute it to this. Like, I've been consistent with everything. You know, I've had months where it's been like mentally draining for me and I've had to take a break, but like, I've been so consistent over the past 3 years, and I think that's the ultimate reason why I'm at the point where I am right now. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, put them in the chat. I will stay on, answer any questions. But yeah, it's given me the freedom to make money from home, build a dream life, and just pursue my passions. And I get to live my days the way that I want to fucking live. I don't have to be stuck in a cubicle for 8 hours a day and sit in traffic and do all of that bullshit. Like, I get to just hang out here. So, all right, let's see. We got a question. How did you decide between registering as an LLC versus as an S Corp? So, when I registered as an LLC, I was doing a lot of research into it because I didn't have like an advisor, like a financial advisor, or like a tax advisor at the time. But the general rule of thumb that I heard was, I think it's like if you have a profit of over $60,000 per year, that's when you should register as an S Corp. And when I filed for taxes for 2021, so when I was still in school, I think my net profit was only like $40,000, which is a lot for a college student, but it wasn't enough to like rationalize doing an S Corp, because I think there's a lot more fees and a lot more like stuff that comes into play when you're an S Corp. And I think S Corp is also good for when you have like employees. I didn't have any employees. Like, every once in a while I'd hire on a freelancer for some side work and stuff like that, but I had no reason to be an S Corp. It's basically for bigger businesses, I think, is what an S Corp is. LLC is more just to like make you a legitimate business. I don't think you get any tax breaks or anything like that. But don't take my word for it. I'm not an accountant or like a legal professional in this area, but that was the logic that I had going into it. Was I'm not big enough yet to be an S Corp. So I know a lot of people make the shift down the road, especially once you have like the agency model up and running. So who knows, maybe this year I'll make the shift to S Corp, but I don't have any like reason to do it right now. But that's definitely something, if you're running a business right now, ask like a tax professional or some sort of finance professional, because they'll give you better advice on that. I just didn't have I wasn't at like the financial threshold yet to be an S Corp yet. It just didn't make any sense. So, but yeah, I definitely do some more research into that. There's a bunch of great YouTube videos out there with people who talk about this as well, because that was like my biggest concern. I had zero clue in that area. Like, taxes, I feel way more comfortable this year than I did last year. Last year I'd made half the income that I did this year, and I was so stressed that I was gonna like end up in jail. Even though I only made like $40,000, I was like, oh, I'm so scared that I'm gonna end up in jail and like somebody's gonna, taxes. I hate taxes. I hate accounting. Bookkeeping, accounting, not my thing. But yeah, definitely ask someone that's like trained in that area. But I'd say general rule of thumb from what I've heard is like, if you're making over $60,000, then I think that's when you want to like consider getting into the S Corp range, especially if you want like employees and stuff. That's when you want to do it. Yes, I'm afraid of taxes. They're not that bad. All right, so I ended up going through TurboTax this year. And it was kind of a game changer for me, because I went through like a private person last year, and he did a good job, but this year it was just so much easier. My biggest tip for everything in this area is save your receipts and make a separate Google Drive folder just for finances. So I have, here, let me pull up my Google Drive, because there's one thing that I'm super good at that my engineering brain has really helped with in my business. It's organization. So I have separate folders. One of them is all client work. One of them is finance. another one is marketing, another one is operations, and another one is products. So under the finance folder, I have 2 other subfolders, which is 2021 tax returns and 2022 tax returns. And for everything that I did last year, everything that I bought, I saved all of my receipts in Google Drive and separated it by month. So I had 12 different months worth of folders and all that. And then I also had an entire folder just for invoices. So whenever I worked with clients and I had to send an invoice, I had all of the invoices in there. That way it's just easier to track like all of my expenses. Anytime I made quarterly payments for my taxes, I took a screenshot of that, or I saved the receipt and I just put it in the Google Drive folder. Like, it's so much easier to organize everything, because when I was going back and forth with the guy on TurboTax, I could download it in like seconds and then just upload it to TurboTax. So yeah, if you don't use TurboTax and you have to file this year, highly recommend using them. The Live Expert was amazing. I think I paid $450 for him, and it was super, super quick and easy. Like, I think I started the whole process in like late January. I was like, I want to get this done early this year. I don't want to be dealing with it in April when everyone else is trying to do taxes. So yeah, if you're stressed about taxes, if you're running your business right now, TurboTax is great. But yeah. All right, what other questions do we have for me? But yeah, ultimately, you guys, like, my entire goal with this now is just to spend less time working and more time living my life. So my dream was always to have greater control over what I did with my life. I didn't want to work a typical 9-to-5 job. I didn't want to, have free time only on the weekends. I didn't want to be restricted on how many vacation days I could take, or my biggest pet peeve is if you get sick, you have to take a sick day. And I was like, I don't want to be taking sick days. Like, if I'm sick, I'm sick. Like, I shouldn't be having to take sick days. What if I have like an illness that lasts like a month? That goes in my vacation days. I don't want to be doing that. So I didn't want to build someone else's like dream life for them. I didn't want to build someone else's business. But yeah, that is why I've stuck with this, and that's why it's been my passion now to help other people get their business off the ground, because there is so much more to life than just like doing the same thing all the time and feeling like you have no control over everything. You have no freedom to do what you want. Like, the world is so full of possibilities, and like, you can travel, like, you can spend more time with your family if you do this whole entrepreneur thing. It's not easy. Like, I'm not gonna like say like, oh, this is such an easy thing, like, this is great, it's all butterflies and roses all the time. Like, no, that is not the reality. But if you set this up and you make it work for you, if you like put in, I hate to use this phrase, but if you put in the work and stay consistent, like, over time, you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn what works, what doesn't work, what you're passionate about, what area you can provide value in, and all of a sudden, it's just gonna mesh together. It took me 2 years before I get to the point where I'm like, social media is it. Social media is the thing that like I'm good at, the thing that I want to be doing, the thing that like I can help other businesses with. I tried like 7 or 8 other things. So sometimes it just takes a little bit of time before you figure out exactly what you want to do. But if you have that little spark inside of you that's like, I know I'm made for so much more than just like working the same job all the time, or, working for someone else, or, I don't have the time to go take vacation when I want to take vacation, or I hate the fact that I only get to see my kids at night. Whatever it is for you, whatever that like little thing inside of you is telling you, give it a shot. Like, just try it for 3 months. That's what I tell people. If you're brand new to this and like you've never stepped foot in entrepreneurship before, but you're like, something is telling me that I should, just try it for 3 months. Because so much changes in 3 months. Like, I went from literally nothing, from working as an Amazon little cart shopper to, hitting $500 a month back in 2020. And as a college student, for anyone, honestly, like, an extra $500 a month is a lot of money. So don't limit yourself right from the beginning. Like, don't say like, oh, that's too much work for me, or, I'm not going to have time to do this, because you really don't know. I didn't think I was going to have time to do it either, like balancing school and balancing swimming and, you know, a relationship and everything else that I had going on. But I took it slow and steady. I think so many people get caught up in the fact that they see all of these like people, especially young people on social media who have great success all of a sudden because of TikTok. And it's like, yeah, but how long is that going to last? Are they actually building something that's going to last? You know, I took it slow and steady because I'm in it for the long term. I'm not in it for like the quick, short wins. I was in the beginning, don't get me wrong. Like that was definitely my mindset in the beginning. But now that I've been playing the game for longer, I'm in this for the long term. And when you're in it for the long term, that means that you're going to have a slower growth. Anyone that goes from like zero to, you know, $100,000 like super quickly, they either got really, really lucky really quickly, or there's something in their business that's not going to sustain them for when they actually try and grow for real. And that happened with me. Like when I had my account go from like 0 to 350,000 followers that quickly, it was great because I was making so much money in the front. But what I didn't realize is that my business wasn't structurally sound for growth later on. And that caused a lot of problems that I'm still trying to fix to this day. So don't think that, you know, you can't do it, or, you know, you don't have time to do it or anything like that. Because if you really want this, if you really want to make it work for you, you're not only just going to find the time to do it, but you're going to find what actually lights you up inside. When I was doing copywriting, it didn't light me up inside. I kind of hated it. I was just doing it because I saw that I was making money from it. So just give it time, you guys. That is like my biggest piece of advice, is just give it time, try out a bunch of different things, and always come back to, why are you doing this? What is your reason for doing this? Like, my reason was to get through school. Just make enough money to get through school. And then eventually it developed into, I don't want to be working for anyone else. I want to prove to other people that I can make this happen. And then it developed into, I want to help other people build this lifestyle, because I saw it work for me. I saw like how much it changed me as a person, and I wanted to help other people feel that same feeling, build that dream life. So my reason has changed over the years, my why has changed, but never forget your roots. Never forget why you started in the beginning, because it all boils down to, I wanted to have the freedom and the control over my life. So whatever your reason is, just keep that in the back of your head, and yeah. All right, I'll stay on for a few more minutes in case anyone else has any other questions. Like, you can literally ask me anything, whether it's about social media, about business, about, I don't know, my story, whatever it might be. How and when did you realize your business wasn't structurally sound? So, okay, this is a really, really great question. I'm probably gonna make a whole podcast episode on this, actually. I think I realized it wasn't structurally sound when I lost my first client. So I don't know if it was because I got so comfortable, or because I was just like, I think it was all like super fast growth for me, and I'm like, this is how it's gonna be the entire business journey. This is amazing. That's not how it works, you guys. Like, you're gonna have a bunch of ups and downs throughout this whole thing. And I think I was on such a high for a long period of time that when I lost my first client, that's when I realized it wasn't structurally sound, because I didn't have leads coming in. I wasn't doing any, I wasn't trying to find any leads. I didn't have any systems in place for my business. So I wasn't creating content consistently. So basically everything that I had to do in order to actually find clients, I wasn't doing while I was working with this one client. And that's when I was like, oh, I'm basically at square one again, and I have to do all of these other things in order to find a client. So that was a big thing for me. I think another one was when I had to pay taxes for the first time. I was like all over the place with my organization and with my money. I didn't really have a system in place to, you know, figure out where I was spending and what was personal expenses, what was business expenses. God, there's so many things that I realized that it was not structurally sound. But I think the biggest thing was when I lost my first client and I realized that I didn't have any other clients coming in, and I didn't know how to reach out to other clients. Like, I think I got very, very lucky with my first client because they reached out to me over TikTok and they were like, we'd love to work with you. And I thought that's how it was going to be with every other client that I had. But that's not the case. Like, there's so much more that goes into it that I just didn't know. There's so much about sales. There's so much about, you know, just like operations in the business, building out an email list, you know, staying consistent, the mindset work. That was another big thing. I realized that my business wasn't structurally sound when my mindset wasn't structurally sound, because the two go hand in hand, you guys. Like, I refuse to believe that whole like manifestation and like, you know, keep your mind, like, you know, all that like stuff that like you hear when you're first starting a business and you're like, oh, that doesn't really matter. It's not going to matter in the long term. It matters in the long term. It really does. Building a business can be mentally draining and you're going to have a lot of ups and downs. And if your mental health, if you're not taking care of your mental health, you guys, then your business is going to collapse. Because especially once you start hiring on people, like I didn't hire any full-time employees, but like freelancers, once you start managing other people on top of managing yourself, on top of working with clients and, you know, doing literally everything inside of the business, like you're going to have some days where you're like, I can't do this. Like, I can't keep up with this. So yeah, I don't know if there was like one specific time that I realized it wasn't structurally sound, but I think that big shift for me where I'm like, oh shit, I need to take this like more seriously and I need to treat it like a legit business and not a side hustle, was when I lost my first client. And that was the one that I was working with for like 9 months straight. So yeah, fun times. But like I said, I could talk about this stuff for hours. And the original point of going on this live was to talk about how to get freelance clients, which I'm going to probably do on Tuesday. And I'm going to make a podcast episode about that as well. But yeah, if you're not following me or if you haven't checked out my podcast, it's called The Real Talk with Olivia Kelleher. It's on Spotify. The first few episodes, they're really bad. I did not know how to do a podcast in the beginning. So like some stuff is cut out, some stuff is like all over the place, but the information is good. Like the information is good. If you can get through the actual episode itself, the more recent ones are a lot better. I've tried to take it more seriously and not just like put out content to put out content. You know what I mean? Like I'm actually trying to like put out content that's valuable. So yeah, it's more just like me talking like the way I'm talking right now. I think the next 3 that are going out are all of me like talking at the camera. So you can actually watch the video on Spotify if you want. But yeah, my podcast is going to be full of a lot of great information. I love talking. That's how I get all of my thoughts out. So yeah, the podcast will be great. YouTube is also a really great place. I've said this since day one, but I'm trying to be way more consistent on YouTube and not be as like nitpicky about how I make my videos. I've always been like, oh, I need to edit it and make it look perfect and all that stuff. And it's like, no, I'm just going to put out like videos of me talking like this on YouTube. I really don't care right now. Like, I don't care that much to edit it and make it like look perfect and high quality, because like I've learned a lot of people don't even like that. They want something that's more down to earth and real. Okay. Have you thought about putting your podcast video on YouTube? Yes, that's actually what I started doing. So like the podcast episodes that you're going to see popping up over the next like few days are actually also going to be on YouTube. So the thumbnails, just use like a stock footage. I haven't really tried a lot with the new YouTube videos, but yeah, the podcast episodes are going to be the exact same as the YouTube ones. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. All right, let's see if there's anything else I wanted to cover during this live. I had a bunch of like bullet point notes, but let's see. But yeah, I guess just like a summary of everything. I consider myself now as, and you might have heard this phrase, like if you follow Ali Abdaal, I don't think he coined this phrase, like I don't think it was from him, I think he got it from someone else. It's called creatorpreneur. And I'm trying to push that a little bit more because I really like it, so I'm gonna, if he's not gonna monopolize on it or like use it, I'm gonna use it. But basically it's a combination of creative entrepreneur. And I fully believe that in this day and age, in 2023, that is what a lot of business owners are. That is what, if it's you and maybe like a few other freelancers, or you and like a handful of other people, like I consider that creatorpreneur, because it's allowed me to be a professional in my space while also exploring my inner creativity that I think I've suppressed for so long. And my goal now is to create a community of people who are creatorpreneurs, who are both right brain and left brain, where you really love the entrepreneurial stuff, like the data, the analytics, like, building out a business, but you also have this creative fire in you, and you're like, I need to learn how to like balance both of those, because that's me. Like, I went to school for engineering. I went to school for mechanical engineering, like literally the most like left brain thing that you can probably get. Like very data heavy, like super sciencey. But now I do social media management. And I've talked to so many people throughout the years who also feel this way, where they feel locked into one or the other. When in reality, you can build a business honing in on all of those skills. You just gotta learn how to balance it. So I have loved this journey, and it's been incredible for me. And I love that I can now show my true colors to the world, and I'm so blessed and grateful that I've built some lifelong friendships and relationships with people who are literally halfway across the world. People online that have been following me since day one, or have reached out to me. We've hopped on calls and stuff like that, who are part of my community now. And it's incredible. It's really, really incredible. So for anyone who watches this or who has been watching this, thank you. And I'm so excited to see where the next few years bring not only me, but also you, because you are part of this community now. Like, if you're watching this and if you have like gotten any sort of value from this, then like you are a creatorpreneur. You are part of this entire community. And if you have any questions, like seriously, if you have any questions, I understand how difficult it can be starting out or scaling or whatever like area you're in. So feel free to send me a DM. Like, DM me, send me an email if you're on my email list, like reply to my emails. If you have content that you want me to like create, or if you have like questions that like I can't just answer like over, a quick text or something like that, either let's set up a call or let me know what sort of like videos or like trainings or stuff you want me to create, because my goal now is to help you guys get to the point where I was, a year ago, where like you're making 10K a month, where you are living your life the way you want to be living your life. You're not answering to someone else. You're not answering to a boss. Like, you're sitting at your house in flannels or sweatshirts with your dog and just hanging out and, drinking a smoothie on a Thursday morning. So whatever like that happiness, whatever like your dream life is, like I want to help you build that. So send me a DM, reach out to me, join my membership program. Like, I'm very excited for all the possibilities that are going to come over the next few years, months, weeks, whatever it is. So thank you for everyone tuning in. Thank you for answering my questions. You are very, very welcome, Emily. And if you have any more, just send me a DM, like I said. Have a good one. Bye, guys.